Hello everyone, welcome to our channel. Good day, good day, good day. It's 12 a.m. but then I want to do this video so that in the morning I won't do anything like this. Okay, so I just want to show us how to draw the diagram for um, a situation where the government imposes, let's say, an excise tax on producers. How to determine the consumer surplus after the tax, the share of the tax that is borne by either the consumer or the producer. So I've already written everything like what I did the other time. So we'll not keep long, just walking you through. Then I'll go and sleep. All right, so the question says quantity demanded is equal to 14 minus 0.5p. Quantity supplied is equal to 0.25p minus 1. First thing is to compute equilibrium price and quantity. And the second says, suppose the government imposes an excise tax of 10 cedis. With the aid of a diagram, calculate the after-tax consumer surplus and producer surplus. Indicate the proportion of tax borne by consumers and producers. All right, so as I said earlier, I've already input everything on this page. Okay, so I'm just going to explain, so you can write or you can listen anyhow. All right, so this is the equation. We have the demand equation and we have the equation. So this is the demand equation, this is the supply equation. The first thing was to find the equilibrium price and quantity. So we just equate quantity demanded to quantity supplied. Then you do change of subject and we end up with price being 20 and quantity demanded being 4. So when you get the price, when you put it in either of the functions here, you're going to get the same quantity figure. Okay, so quantity is 4 in the market, that's the equilibrium quantity. Now, we want to draw a diagram for the demand, market demand in the diagram for what? Market supply. So someone will pick these equations, will pick the demand equation, right, to draw the demand curve, right? Then you say when Q is 0, what to be P? When P is 0, what to be Q? You do same for the quantity supplied. But for me, I just made the price, right, in both functions the subject, then their intercept, I just use it. Okay, so for this is the quantity demanded, this is the quantity demand equation. I just made price the subject here and I got this. Okay, so if quantity is equal to 0, right, price will be 28. So 0, 28, so the 28 is over here. Then I did same for the quantity supplied. Okay, I made the P the subject in the quantity supplied. So if Q is 0, price will be 4. Someone say it's supposed to be 2 points. Yes, don't forget that we already have an equilibrium here. So the equilibrium can become the second point for both functions. Okay, so this will be the first point for the demand and this will be the second point. Then the line will cross. Then this will be the first point for the supply, right, from this part. And then the equilibrium will be the second point. Then what? We'll draw the line. That's it. But someone too can go ahead and put what numbers inside the equation and then draw the graph. Okay. So now this is where I want to explain more. Okay. So when let's say the government introduces a tax, okay, the tax, it can be a tax on producers and or it can be a tax on consumers, but mostly it's a tax on what producers. Example is the excise tax. Okay, so in our case it's what? A tax on producers. Okay, so if producers they've made their supply function, they are selling and then government increases the tax. Okay, the moment the government increases the tax, it doesn't mean that um producers are going to change their supply function, right? But then they are going to accommodate the tax, right, they're going to factor the tax in what the pricing. Okay, so if government what introduces a tax, it means that now the total amount of money that the government is receiving, right? The amount that the government is receiving, or sorry, the amount that the producer will now be receiving will be reduced. Okay, so in this situation, the producer was receiving 20 cedis, right? From what the from the customer. So if the customer buys 4 units, each unit is 20 cedis, right? So 20 times 4 would be what the revenue for the producer, right? But the moment the government introduces an excise tax, which what affects the producer, it means that the amount the producer is going to receive for himself is going to reduce, because a portion is going to go to the government. Okay, so to find the new equilibrium price, okay, and quantity that will pertain in the market, we need to know the new what supply what function. Okay, not that the supply function, how should I put it, not that the supply function is the new supply that the producer is going to what come up with, but then we are just factoring in the tax in what in the equation. So we said that producer's price, okay, right, the producer's price now, the money that the producer will be receiving now will be equal to the price that consumers are paying, right, minus the tax. That's the price in the market. So the price in the market is what consumers will pay, right? So what consumers are paying, the price in the market minus the tax, will now be what the producers are receiving, because now the tax will become revenue to the government. Okay, so now the producer's price will be this function, which is P minus T. So substitute it in the what producer's function. Okay, so if the producer's function is not going to change, but then it's going to be the same function, but then the price will have what a tax factor. Okay, that's why I'm using this old function here. But then the price will no longer be only P, because now government is sharing it with the producer. So we'll substitute the P here, right? We'll substitute the P here with what P minus T. So the P here is the money that producers will receive from their customers. So if there is tax, it means that the money they'll be receiving will be reduced, because now the government will be receiving some. So put the P minus T here. Then we'll expand the equation. At the end, we get this, right? This to be, and this is what we are going to use to determine the new equilibrium price that will be in the market. Because the moment the government increases taxes, it means that there's going to be a price increase. That's what we are seeing in the what in the economy. When the government increases the excise taxes, you see that the goods and services have become expensive. So that's the case here. So when the government imposes a tax, okay, it's going to what increase, especially on producers, it's going to what increase what the price. Sorry, it's going to increase the price in the market. Okay, but then the consumers demand function is going to be the same, because the tax is not affecting the consumer, it's affecting what the producer. Okay, but what will happen in the market is that the consumers are going to reduce their quantity that they are buying, because now the price is going to increase. Producers are going to add a tax to the price. Okay, and producers too will what reduce the quantity that they are producing. Why? Because now if they increase the quantity they are producing, right, it means that they are going to give more of the money they are receiving to the government. So they'll reduce the production. That is why most firms try to avoid taxes. Okay, because the more you make profit, the more you are paying taxes. So in the same way, in the production setting, if the producer is going to produce more, I mean the producer is going to pay more tax toward the government. So the producer to reduce the quantity he's supplying, so the quantity that will be in the market will be what less. So anytime you are working with this kind of question, then you find out that the new equilibrium price is what great is less than the old equilibrium price. You are wrong, because it's supposed to be great. Anytime the government imposes a tax on the producer, then prices are going to what increase, and then quantity are going to reduce. So now equate the old what demand function to this what supply function that has factored in tax. That has factored in tax. So this is the supply function that we got here. That's factored in tax. So when you do your calculations carefully, we get QD being what the quantity in the market being 2.355. So you see that it is less than the old what equilibrium quantity, because now there has been an imposition of tax, and the imposition of tax has caused or has brought about increase in price. And then for consumers, when price increases, the quantity they are demanding what falls, right? But then producers too, someone say producers when price increases, they what it's an incentive to produce more. But this is not the case, because there is a tax factor. If producers are producing more, right, it means that they are going to give more of their revenue toward the government. So they'll reduce their quantity. So quantity will reduce in the market. Okay. So now that you know the quantity demanded, okay, we know the equilibrium price in the market. So the equilibrium price becomes the price that consumers are paying in the market. It's right. The new equilibrium price become the price consumers are paying the market. So if you want to know the price producers will be receiving, then will be what? We'll come back to what this equation where the price here becomes this price that producers are consumers are going to pay minus the tax factor. Okay. So in as much as the price has increased, this whole price is not for the producer anymore, but now government is having a share in the what? In this price. So if you want to know what the producer will be receiving himself, will be this price that the consumers are paying, minus the tax the government will take. And the resulting figure will be what producers will be receiving. Because don't forget to be looking for producer surplus. So you need to know what producers are receiving, right? Before you what so let me explain the producer receive and the consumer receive. So this place, just with this diagram, so this 28 shows what consumers are willing to pay, right, for a particular good. But when they went to the market, the good was selling for 20 cedis. Okay, the 4 is the price that producers were willing to sell their product. Okay, but when they entered the market, the price was 20. So it's a good gain for them. You get it. So their producer surplus and consumer surplus will be big. So this 4 represent the amount producers were willing to sell, were willing to what receive from the consumers. And when they went to the market, it was 20. And this is what the consumers were willing to pay. When they went to the market, it was also what 20. But now that tax factor has what come into the equation, things are going to change, right? Even if the producers make so much, government is also going to make so much, because the tax is an excise tax. It's affecting producers, but then consumers will also bear some of the the burden, right? Because obviously producers will shift what some of the tax to the price. Okay, so now we are going to look at the last aspect. So now that we know how to get the price, right? You know how to get the quantity demanded when taxes are what imposed, and then how to find what the producer is receiving. Now let's go to the diagram. Then we'll be done soon. So this is the diagram for what after tax. So I'm going to explain it briefly. So I brought the variables here. So this is the new price we got from the previous page. This is the due quantity we got, and then the tax, and then the producer's receiving price is what the consumer price, that the price in the market minus the tax. Because now producers will receive only 13.33, and then the 10 will go towards government. So producers are not going to produce more, obviously, because they'll be on the losing end, and they'll be incurring costs because the tax is a cost to them. So when we are drawing the diagram, it's not complicated, okay? Because I've drawn it, I don't want to draw it again. Maybe I'll make mistakes, right? Because it's a video, but then I'm sure God will help me to explain better. So this is the axis. So we see that because the tax is affecting the producer, right, and not the supplier in case, right? Okay, not the consumer, sorry. So we'll draw our old or diagram. So we see that this from 28 to 4, from 4 to this 4, and then this is what the old diagram. So now there are certain new things that have come here. Okay. So this 20 was the what old equilibrium price. Okay. So anytime the government imposes tax, right, the supply curve will shift upwards by the what the tax per unit, or the unit tax. Yes. Anytime tax is imposed, okay, supply curve is going to shift to the left. So this one is showing what a shift to the left, a shift to the left. If it's an increase to be like this, a shift to the right, okay. But then the shift is not based on consumers what um consumers actions, but then it's based on the tax. So the shift will be what based on the unit tax. That's why you see that here is 14, because this was where the old supply curve was. So when the tax was imposed, the supply curve will fall by what the shift by the unit tax, and it's 10. So it will shift in 4, or in the price will be increased from 4 towards 14. So this will shift. So this will be the supply curve. Okay. So it will cause a new equilibrium because the demand curve will be the same for the consumers. Nothing will change. So this will be the new equilibrium. See that price and quantity has fallen, right? And price has risen from 20 to 23.3. So now this is the price consumers are paying in the market. And then this is, so to find the price producers are receiving in the market, that is what we did here. Got 13.33. And then this 13.33 is not on this shift, this curve. No, 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 no. This curve's figure is a 14, because the supply curve will shift to the left by the water tax. But then this 13 is the amount producers are receiving, and then producers are using their old supply what curve. This is not a new supply curve, it's just a shift by what the tax. But this is the supply curve producers are working with to determine the amount they are producing. So this 13 that they are receiving what corresponds to what the quantity that falls on this old supply curve. I don't know that you get what I'm trying to say. So this tax is just there to show that there has been imposition of tax, but then it doesn't necessarily mean that suppliers are going to change their what supply curve. No, they use their old supply curve, because the imposition of tax doesn't mean suppliers are going to get more raw materials, more than, no. So their supply function is going to be the same, but then the amount they will be receiving will fall, right, because of the tax. So that's why the line is on this 13.3 traces to the old supply curve and not the new supply curve. The new supply curve only brings about equilibrium, the equilibrium price and quantity that will be in the market. But then what producers will be receiving what falls on the old supply curve. That's the working supply curve. Okay. All right. So I hope you understand that. Then this entire area or portion, this part becomes the what? The money that's going to the government. Right? So you see that because the tax has what increased prices and has reduced what producers are receiving, the producer surplus what has reduced compared to the previous diagram, and consumer surplus has also reduced, because now all this portion is for the government. Right? Okay. So when you want to find consumer share of the tax, it's just the new what price minus the old price, right? So the price was 20, and the tax brought added a 3.33 to it. So this is the share of the tax consumers are what bearing. Then producers are bearing 6.67. So that means this amount is what producers are what factoring into their cost of production. Okay, so that's to be the 20 here. That's the equilibrium. That was what they were receiving at first, but now because of the tax, government has taken 6.67 of what they're receiving. Now they're receiving just 13.3. We can use this then to find our consumer surplus. So I didn't do that one because from this point, I'm sure you can do it. So the consumer surplus is this area, there is the triangle, then the producer surplus is this area, this part, this part. Because now all this part is for the government, so no producer business is here. Only this part is the producer surplus. Has become small. Then now this portion and this portion become the dead weight loss. This portion and this portion becomes what? The dead weight loss. The dead weight loss. So we can find the dead weight loss. This part. So now we know that this portion is 13.33, right? And then the new equilibrium is towards 2.33. So we can use the half times the base. The base becomes the quantity side, this part. 4 minus 2.33 times the height becomes the 23.33 minus the 13.33. Someone too can find this part first and find this part first and add them. Okay, so that's basically for the dead weight loss. So I hope this video will clarify some things to you. If you have any question, you can put in the comment section. Thank you for your time. Don't forget to like, to share, subscribe, and leave a comment. Have a nice morning. It's time to sleep. Thank you. Bye bye.